In this lesson, we're going to learn about local storage and how it can help you with time when you frequently need some information. So to demonstrate this, let's create a variable called user ID token in the user service. So user ID token, and the type is string. Now if we try to print this at the beginning of the construction, at the beginning of the constructor of this class, console.log user ID token at the beginning. Of the service. And if we try to print the value here, this user ID token, now you will see that the user ID token is obviously undefined. Now let's go ahead and update the value of user ID token later. So when this print ID token method is called, let's update this user ID token at that time. So now that we are changing the functionality, instead of calling this method print ID token, let's call this method store ID token. And there, so previously we were just directly going and printing it. So instead of that, now what we will do is, since we're going to have multiple things now, we're going to use this curly brace syntax, and we're going to print this inside that. But instead of printing it from this ID token value local variable, what we will do is we will first put it inside the user ID token variable that we have at the class level. So this dot user ID token equals to ID token value, and then we'll print it from the class variable. And now you will notice that at the beginning, user ID token at the construction of the service is undefined, but once these remaining things are done, this ID token value is coming at the right value. Now that means every time we are refreshing this page, it's actually making that call and reading that value from there, and then it's actually printing it. So what if once we first make the call, we want to store that value? So let's try that. So we can use local storage for that. So what we can do for that is can go ahead, and here we have the value. So we can say local storage dot set item, and for this we need to pass two parameters. One is what is the name of the variable. So let's call this user ID token, and then we can put the value there. ID token value. And then instead of getting it from this class variable, if we directly go here and then try to print it from the local storage dot get item, and then the name of the item is user ID token, and instead of using this class variable, actually for now let's use this class variable, but let's put this value in this class variable from the local storage dot get item. Yeah, and then let's do the same thing when we're trying to trying to print this value. This is the user ID token equals to local storage dot get item. Now what will happen is, if we refresh this, you will see that at the beginning, when user ID token at the construction of the service, it's also giving us that value, because what is happening is that once we did it once, then the value is staying in local storage, and then when we refresh the page, this ID token value is coming from local storage. Instead of going through all these remaining details, we are getting this value early. To demonstrate this example further, now we can actually get rid of this class variable altogether, and then we can basically, at the beginning, we're trying to print it directly from this local storage dot get item, and here where we are storing it, we are storing it in the local storage, and then we are directly printing it from local storage. Now you will see that it's available at the beginning and at the end as well, because the user signed. Once the user signed, the next time we are just taking the value from the local storage. Now one thing to remember is that, so this variable is staying there even if the user sign out. So let's see that. So if we go ahead and if we do the logout, you will see that even if we refresh now, we're still getting the user ID token at the beginning. As many times we try to refresh it, we'll get the user ID token at the beginning, and then next time when it's trying to do this get ID token to actually this part on the subscribe, that part is failing. Now we don't want this behavior. Once the user is logged out, we want this user ID token to go away. So the way we can do that is, so here where the user is logging out, we can go ahead and we can do either local storage dot remove item, or we can do clear altogether. Then we don't need to pass any parameter. It will remove all local storage, and that's actually a safe behavior to do. When the user is logging out, we don't want to save any leave any details on the cache or the local storage, right? Now let's see that in action. For that we need to sign in again. So sign in, it worked. you can see here that from the local storage the value is showing up here, and then later as well, obviously. Now if we go ahead and log out, it actually cleared the local storage. Now if you refresh, you will see that user ID token and the construction of the service is null, which is expected. Okay, so that's it for local storage. Thank you.